Welcome to another edition and another episode of the 94 by 50 podcast brought to you by Ilya Kurbanov. And I know it's been a long time with all the March Madness and school and basketball for everyone. But we're back. We're finally back, and we're going to kick it off with none other than Sascha Kappos, the two-time national Final Eight medalist in youth sports in Canada, a multiple-time AUA champion with the Dalhousie Tigers, goes by Slim or Big Sash, whatever you prefer to call him, or just Sascha, but nonetheless currently in Greece representing Koroivos Basketball Club. And you're going to hear from him in just a few seconds. How you doing today, Sascha?
Good, man. Well, what's happening? What's going on?
This is it. You're seeing it. Trying to do my best, staying occupied with this basketball thing, with podcasting, a little bit of everything. Finally a little bit COVID-free. Not really. Still
very slowly but surely.
Exactly.
Yeah, slowly
Getting there. So how are you? How are things in Greece?
It's good. It's grinding. We're at the end of the finish line. Approaching a playoffs. Small chance of making it, but we're still grinding away. It's been a long year, to say the least. It's been a full grind, battling COVID, battling various injuries, but that's what you get when you're playing like just overseas. It's that full grind.
Absolutely, and I think the pro scene itself is just self-explanatory. It's not the same as university. It's a lot more work, a lot more responsibilities. Well,
yeah, of course.
It would be when you get paid, right? So
yeah, exactly. That's a perks of it, right?
Exactly. So let's not go too fast with the pro scene right now. Let's go back in time where you had the opportunity to represent one of the better schools in the nation in basketball, in Dalhousie Tigers under Coach Rick Plato. And talk to me about the whole experience. I know he recruited you for a long time, and then you told me way back that you almost went to St. Mary's.
Yes.
And then Coach Plato didn't get the St. Mary's job, and you said, I'm going to Dal. Was it something that was influenced because your dad played with Coach Plato back in the 70s?
Well, it was mainly because when I was in Florida, I wasn't highly recruited by many schools. So when I got the call first from Plato at Dal, and then honestly, truth be told, I didn't even know where a Dal was. I knew that my dad played for St. Mary's, that was up in Canada, but I was like, okay, I don't know where I'm going. And then within the same week, I visited Dal and St. Mary's, and I just felt that instant bond with Plato. And maybe it was because he played with my dad, but there was something about him that he could relate to me in so many ways. He told me exactly what was going to happen, showed me around the entire city, showed me to the entire team, and was honestly just couldn't be a much better host than what he was. And he told me, he gave me the honest truth of what was going to happen. He knew that we had vet guys like Richie, Jared, Cash. He said, it'll be a grind, but you got to work your way up. And honestly, at that point in my life, I was so ready to work for anything. In my high school, I barely got any playing time. So when I got the opportunity, and he was very honest with me and very straightforward, I said, yeah, I'm all in. And then it was the best decision of my life, because the bonds that I've made at that school are going to last for my entire life.
Indeed. And, knowing a lot of those guys coming into myself, going to Halifax, and even not being part of the Dal team, the guys were so, I don't know, there's something about it. And I don't know if the way Coach Plato kind of brings guys together, if there's a mentality switch when everyone gets on that team. But it seems like if you are in the basketball community, you're going to be pretty tight with everyone. Is it something that Coach Plato actually made it aware for you guys where, it's not just about you?
I'd say so. I mean, from the jump, like thankfully, like the year before that I got there was the groundbreaking year that Dow had, where they won the AUS. I think as like the fourth seed or the fifth seed. I'm not too sure, but that kind of showed them, the guys that were there before, like, hey, like if we trust the process that what Coach Rick Plato has had in front of us, then we can win, and like that's going to be like the result. So I kind of came in right as the culture was already in like the motion of changing, like, hey, follow it from the top down. And I think we bonded because we all believed in that system. And again, credit to those guys, Richie, Jared, Cash, where they made it assertive from the jump, like, hey, like we buy in, we lock in, we come together, and we grind. And it's a long season, but I think as the year keeps progressing and as that grind gets more and more, that's when you become like the closer. When you go through the ups and downs, or a tough loss or a big win, it just makes that team closer, and leads to stories like this and like the memories that last forever.
And I feel like Coach Plato was also notorious of like keeping things
Tight, very, very,
top notch.
yeah, tight ship,
For those
tight
for those
ship.
who really don't know Coach Plato, he is a very intense person on the court.
Mhm.
If you had to watch Dalhousie Tigers play in any game, and I feel like Coach Plato would be the most animated person
Yeah, yeah,
in the arena,
yes,
and
yes,
that just comes from winning, wanting to win. But then at the
yeah,
same time, when I did the documentary last year about him, I actually interviewed you for that as well. I
yep,
remember.
yep,
Like the thing he told me that really, blew my mind away was, hey, like I do it for them. Like I don't care as much. Like yes, I want to win, but
yeah,
like the fact that I can see them happy after that whole process that you all go through during
yeah.
that season, that's what made them happy. And
Well,
that's one side I feel like no one sees about Coach Plato.
that's
Would
what I
you
was
be
just about to
able,
say.
can you bring
Yeah.
out an example where just Coach
So
Plato being Coach Plato?
the classic example for those who like, obviously, when you see him at the game, he's yelling, he's screaming, he's sweating, his face turns red, he's so intense with it. Um, but he honestly, that's going back to what I said. He cares about his guys so much. I think, like, I've never met a coach that's that, like, I don't want to say it's not two faced because that's not the right word, but he pushes you to your limit, but he also reinforces you with how much he cares about you. I think the perfect example is after every time that we've won the conference, the camera always pans to him, and he sits back. He doesn't like go celebrate with us. He just sits back, and he almost starts crying. It's very close because he realizes these guys did it. They put in the work, and he's just enjoying the moment, watching us celebrate. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind. What people don't see is we have like the weekly meetings with Rick Plato before the game or after the game, going over a film. And first thing he asks, we will spend 15, 20 minutes talking about just like your life, like your personal life, asking you how are things, how's school going, how's your family, do you need to talk about anything? And he just wants to relate to you. He wants to always be like a father figure to you. And I think that's a side that no one really sees. And I always laugh when someone says, "How do you deal with that coach? Because he's so intense." And you say, "Yeah, he's intense, but he pushes you. But behind the scenes, that no one sees, he's one of the most caring and like loving guys in the entire city."
Absolutely. And I feel like everyone gets that impression when, you sit in the bleachers and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you hear Sascha.
Oh yeah.
Just a,
You see,
and
you
I've
see the
heard it
phones.
many times.
Yeah,
I've
you see
heard
the
it
phones
many
record.
times.
The phones are always recording during like the timeouts. You always notice during the games in the bleachers, it's most packed right behind our bench because everyone's filming or ready for Plato to just erupt, go crazy.
Oh well, with the opportunity that you had, playing first for Coach Plato, and then eventually you got an opportunity to as well play in the CBL, Canadian
Yeah,
Elite League Basketball League, with the Edmonton Stingers. Now this league is expanding every single year. New
like crazy,
teams.
like crazy.
It's Scarborough got a team.
Yeah,
Montreal this year has a team. So if I'm still in the city, I'll definitely try to go watch a
yeah,
game at least
yeah.
one game. But talk to me about how that experience played into your development as you now continue to play professional basketball.
It's the first season was very eye opening, right? Because everyone always talks about, oh, the speed of the game, the strength of the game. It's much different, and you always say, yeah, like you're right, whatever. But I'll see it for myself, and you don't really know until you see it firsthand. And that first year was it was a strange season, obviously because COVID first hit, and then I think we were the only sports active at that point, like across the country or something like that. Um, and I realized quick how talented not only basketball at the pro level, but strictly basketball in Canada. There are so many talented players; it is ridiculous. So that first year, just learning as much as possible, trying to pick the brains of these vets. Um, Guys like Jordan Baker, Xavier Moon, Travis Daniels, those first years, just kind of watching them and seeing how they kind of approach the game, see how they approach like that pro level was huge for me in realizing, okay, like, yeah, like you were succeeding in college, but this is a whole different game. And Coach Smalls was also great with that. Like, he's one of the amazing coaches as well. Like he understands, like he knew for me and for X from Dow at that point. Like, yeah, coming in, just learn, just kind of be a sponge and pick these guys' brains. And he said, just if you have any questions, always ask and just try and soak up as much knowledge as you can. And I think that was incredible going into my second year for the CBL. That kind of helped me like progress and gave me that confidence playing wise.
And that was rewarding as well. Ended up coming off with back-to-back championships.
Yeah,
What was
we
that
had
like?
that was it's unbelievable. I mean, when you have the talent that we had, and the same thing, it was almost like I was at Dow, like just all over again, right? Like the bond just it's and that was even for what 2 months. The bond becomes so quick because everyone's on that pro grind as well, so everyone knows what's going on, and it becomes a family, right? So that first year, winning in like the bubble environment, we brought back, I want to say, 75% of the guys from that first year into the next year, and so we were already a tight knit family, and it just kind of made things that much easier going into the season and actually experiencing it in Alberta and hosting like the final tournament. Unreal experience, unreal.
And how much does it play? Did it play a big role you having an actual teammate that you played with from Dal? Did it play any role? And if it did, how
I'd probably say uh,
it
big
affect
thing.
you just being there
I'd
with
probably
the
say
team?
the big thing was it helps kind of ease like your mind, right? Like you're going in, yeah, you're nervous meeting all these guys. It's a new system, but like knowing that you have a guy there like Xavier that first year made things so much easier. You could have someone you could talk to or you could fall back on. And then like the next year, I'm already familiar with these guys, but showing like with Alex, showing like, hey, like these are all a great bunch of guys. You'll learn from them quickly. So I think that first year it was great, kind of putting my mind at ease, saying like I'm not alone on this. And my second year, kind of expressing that and relaying that down to Carson and to all of like these other like new guys. Not that I was the main vet, but like it kind of makes things a lot easier going into that next year.
100%. And we, like you saying, the talent is there, the experience is there. Now, last year, after another impressive season by Xavier Moon, he gets a call up to play in the G League with the
Yeah,
Clippers.
yeah,
And now he has a two-way contract
yeah.
with the Clippers as well. And obviously, they just got eliminated from the playoffs contention after losing in the play-in. But uh, what is it like seeing some of your guys, some of your teammates achieving that type of success.
We were wondering why he didn't get a call up to the NBA the previous year. Like he's so hardworking, so down to earth, like, and he just lays it all just on the court. Like we were wondering, this guy's bound to get a call up. So I mean, when he finally did, it was like, it wasn't that we were surprised. It was more like it's about time. You know, like this guy's like deserved it for so long. He's grinded away, and that first year when I saw him play, I was like, I really haven't seen anyone play like this in my entire life. Like everyone talks about his speed, but it's his ability to stop on a dime as he's going that fast is just mind-boggling. And so same thing, like just kind of watching him develop into this star that everyone knew, like, yeah, he's bound for the NBA. It kind of, a sense of joy and a sense of pride came in. You're just like, yes, like he's all that work that he put in, and you witness it on a daily basis. Finally, just it blossomed into him getting the contract, and I couldn't be more proud of a guy. Even though I've only known him for 2 summers, it's been unreal, and I couldn't be just more happy for him.
And as it's growing, like like we mentioned earlier, what do you think is the reason, in your opinion? Because is it the talent? Because you have played in the CBL, so you obviously saw it, and we saw it. Like bunch of NBA talent, like Lindell went and played last year. Now has a two-way contract with the Bucks, and now is in the playoffs with the Bucks as well. Then obviously Nate Darling, another Nova Scotian product, who wasn't in the CBL, but now is in
Like the two-way still,
the
yeah.
Clippers, in the Clippers G League, and probably this year I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a call up from a CBL team to expand this skill, continue to develop, and get another call up next year because he's been grinding. We know that, but then there's a bunch of talent. Trey Duval was on there. Dejan Delorier was there.
Tough.
Like there's so much talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that the reason why it's growing so fast, or is it more to it?
I think that's a big part of it, right? Is people realizing how much talent is coming in. But I really think that year when COVID first hit and we were the only kind of sports going on, it forced guys to tune in, not only in Canada, right? All across the world, tune in and be like, okay, like this is an actual serious level of basketball. And I think they do a really great job of like promoting social media, of promoting these games, these teams, the expansion. That I think it forces people to realize, okay, like there's an actual serious level of talent here. And then as years progress more and more, and we bring in slowly more pieces of big names, it just helps make the league that much bigger. And now with them expanding, I'm hoping Scotia can get a team. That would be unreal. But as the league continues to expand, it's going to keep drawing in more and more names and just show that not only Canada has an elite basketball level, but they're doing a great job of slowly like they just created a new rule. They can have like an international player not from the States. Bless you. Where they can kind of involve people from across. They're trying to expand it to like the whole world, and I think they're doing a great job of slowly each year just kind of make it that much more big and available to people all across the globe.
Yeah, I saw that rule change. They're allowed 2 international players per team, which is massive. It's just huge.
And that's huge. Like 2 international, not from the States, so they can have like the 3 people from the States, I think, and they can have like 2 more,
which allows honestly to attract more Canadian talent as well, as we have a ton of it. Like in the youth sports, so many guys. Even this year, Lloyd Pandy of Carleton as have an amazing season, MVP of the youth sports, helps the team win the championship alongside with Alain Louis, who blossomed. Not playing the first couple of years and now being the finals MVP.
And, that's Carleton, though.
That's exactly. That's the way
Carleton,
they do things, right?
Yeah.
And I totally agree. Like, and credit to the guys who actually stick with the process. And I think with Dal, you see that a lot as well, because not everyone coming into Dal plays their first year.
No,
You
like
know what I mean? Coach Plato
I can attest
relies
to
a
that.
lot
Yeah.
on the veterans. And, you've been part of that. Guys who came after you have been part of that, and that's just the way it is in basketball. If you can tough it out and develop and become better, things will go
All
uphill
part
for
of the
you no
grind.
matter
Yeah.
what.
All part of
Exactly.
the grind.
So now you earned an opportunity after the CBL. Perhaps you maybe had some intent. Obviously, you had the intention of continuing playing pro.
Yeah.
Did you hear from any other teams across the ocean when before you
I mean,
signed with
yeah, yeah.
the
I mean,
Oregon Sparks?
that first year it was tough, right? Because no one knew what was happening. Like COVID came in and just swept the whole. So like no one knew: are we having a season? Are we not having a season?
Yeah.
Um, and so I would always hear from like a few like, hey, like we're intrigued, but I never saw the contract in front of me, and I was getting worried. But I think a week before September of that year, I got the contract from this from my team here in Greece, and I didn't waste any time. I said, okay, like this is it. Like I'm ready to go. I was clawing and scratching. Like I need to go play. Um, and then that became a whole different challenge because COVID was still a factor. The league got shut down after 2 months,
Oh,
and it was just like it was absolutely wild. Like I was here trying to take things in, then league got shut down, and they sent us home. And I was like, okay, well, first I guess that's the first year of playing pro, but I didn't really like account it. You know what I mean? I consider this my first like full year of being away from home, being overseas, and just grinding.
what's that experience like?
I always describe it like I'm in contact with my Dow buddies all the time. When they always ask me, I always say there's some really good days and there's the really like the bad days, right? If you got a bad practice or a bad game, you don't have that person where you can turn to and just kind of take you away from basketball. I always in Halifax, I would always try and whether a win or a loss, always try and escape basketball once the game was over. Just kind of take my mind like away from it for a few hours just to kind of break away. But here it's no, like you're absolved in that constantly. So like you'll have a bad practice, a bad game, and you'll be like, man, like, is it really worth it? Like, is this what's right for me? And then you grind away, then you have that really good day, and then it makes you keep going to strive for those really good days. But it's a learning. You learn a lot about yourself, like just while you're. And I know everyone says that, but you really learn. Like, okay, like what am I going to do with all this like the free time? Because that's what people don't realize. Like, yes, you have a job. You show up to practice. You go to weights. You play the game. But what? That's like 3 hours of the day. So like you got to figure out what am I going to do with the rest of my day? Am I going to go train? Am I going to keep grinding, or am I just going to sit here and not do anything? Right. So you find things to do. You find what am I passionate about? What do I like to do? And I think that's the biggest like a learning curve for me.
And what's the day in life like for Sascha
Day in
Kappos
life.
being pro right
So
there?
I can break it down in two halves, right? Because last year, like I guess the beginning of like the first half of this season, at the end of 2021, I had my system, right? I had go shoot like in the morning. We had weights, go shoot, have lunch, come back, kind of relax for like an hour or two, go practice. You show up at 4:30. You're there until like 8 with the stretching and all that. Get home by 9, eat, and by that time you're exhausted, so you go to bed. But then at the start of this year, 2022 has been an absolute grind. We came back, whole team got COVID.
Ooh,
So, oh yeah, so you're like literally January 1st, I tested positive for COVID. I was like, okay, off to the
off
new
to a great
year.
start.
Yeah, exactly, great. Come in to 10 days later, like games are getting postponed. I practiced for 3 days, and I tear like a ligament in my shooting hand. First week, sets me out for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and like I'm just now coming back from like, okay, I just put my first full game where I felt back to normal. So during those 10 week span, it was try and train, do what you can, but doctors saying you can't do much, like you don't want to do anything. So it's like, oh my lord, like if you can't practice here, like there's not much else to do, especially with only one hand. Like, and it is my right hand too. Like driving, shooting, I can't even practice anything. So I was just watching practices, kind of going crazy a little bit. But then finally now it's like I'm back. I'm getting into the flow of things. I'm getting back to that. Okay, weights in the morning, shoot right after lunch, practice, sleep, and just like to repeat. But you surround yourself with, okay, I'm either going to do this or I'm just going to sit at home all day, right? So I'd rather keep moving, keep doing something, and at the end of the day, be tired, and then okay, like we'll keep going.
So now you're, like you said, the season is almost done. You are battling for that playoff spot. But the news is that you signed a new contract to now play in Puerto Rico, assuming
Yes,
the season is done in
yes,
Greece.
yes.
When is that going to start, and what are you expecting from that next step?
So I could not be more excited about this opportunity. When I got the chance and I spoke with them in January, I was like, yeah, I'm all in. So the season started April 9th, I believe. So it's already started. But they've been very, very what's the term? They've been very nice to me and allow me to finish like my season here, and then once it's done, then to go over and play. But that is a lot of talent over there too. It's like the CBL was a lot as well, and this is I'm so fortunate to be in be a part of two leagues that have so much like the NBA talent. Like I think I saw something where like Gerald Green just signed to this, like Tyler Hansbrough, like a bunch of big names that are signed to this league, and I'm just same thing as what I did first year of CBL. Go in, not expect anything, just kind of soak up as much knowledge as I can and just grind away. I pick the brains of these guys who have been playing pro for 10 or 12 years and ask them what to do, what not to do, what's their daily routine, like you're asking. Things that can just slowly make me better, help me progress that in the next step. But I'm excited to see this level of like the competition, see how strong basketball is down there, and just keep evolving.
And as you continue your pro journey now going to Puerto Rico, you've had tons of experience. You could say, you played 2 years, 2 years with
Yeah.
CBL. There's a lot of pro caliber, NBA caliber players. Then you played in Greece now for a full year and saw what it's like to have, that season, a full season of
Yeah.
constant competition, and now move into Puerto Rico. If you had one advice for the current basketball players that are finishing university or whatever they've been doing for the past year, you know, one advice, what that advice would be?
Be patient. I'd probably say things might not always look like they're going your way, or you'll think like I said before, is this really what I wanted? Is this what I wanted to do? And you just gotta keep grinding out, keep going, keep pushing, and you'll start to see like the results, right? Stuff might not go your way, like battling through injuries, through COVID, whatnot. But you just got to keep your head down, keep grinding, and the results will come. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken away is when I stop and you're laying in bed before you fall asleep and you're thinking like, oh, I miss my family, I miss my friends, and it's you kind of put things in perspective. I'm doing this for them. I'm doing this for myself as well, and be patient. Let the work show for itself, and all good things will end up being there for you.
Perfect. Well, now we got to a point where I have a segment that I call Into It. and I'll
Okay.
explain what the segment is. So it's rapid fire questions, and you have a minute. So if we can get six,
Ooh.
7 questions in that minute, it's not gonna be anything that open ended. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have
Yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
have to give me a lengthy answer. It's gonna be more
Yeah.
like, just fast and quick.
All right.
Nothing crazy.
Okay.
Um, and obviously, I'm not gonna ask you anything crazy either. So,
No worries. No worries.
I'm
No
gonna
worries.
start the timer here. 1 second. I'll start the timer, and here we go. Okay, who's the toughest opponent you played against?
Toughest opponent would. I mean, I got to go with Moon in practice. Like that's the way it is. Like yeah.
Who beats you in a game of 21?
Whole bunch of guys. I wouldn't even say that I'm at the top of that list.
Would you rather get a game-winning dunk or a game-winning block?
Dunk for sure.
Poster?
It don't matter. It don't matter. If it's a game winner, that's it.
Perfect. If you had to sit at a table with anyone to have a dinner, dead or alive, who would it be?
Gotta be Wade, like my favorite player. You know what? Just give me like the big three from Miami of back in the day: Wade, Bosch, and James.
Your pregame meal.
Whatever the team makes for us, that's it.
Your pregame song that you love listening to.
Meek Mill, Rick Ross, a boss.
Perfect. That was good.
Hmm.
That was good. I like
Yeah,
that. I like that.
yeah.
The big three. That's a good one. That's a good one.
And
It
if I'm
really
being
is.
honest, it's got to be just because of Wade. Like I've grew up watching him, and like I like Donovan Mitchell is like probably my second or third favorite player, like in the league, just because I'm biased for Miami. Like
Yeah.
that's it. But Mitchell's like the second coming of Dwayne Wade, like in my eyes, and
Oh
that's why
yeah,
I like
they're similar, but
exactly.
I feel like Donovan Mitchell has a little bit more skill to his game,
Of
just
course, well,
based on how game evolved. You know what I mean? Obviously,
exactly,
everyone needs to have a shot at this point. Like center,
exactly.
point guard, forward, don't matter what position you play.
Yeah,
If you can't shoot the ball, and I think Donovan Mitchell is one of the
and it was
top three
perfect
point
timing. Yeah.
shooters in the game as well.
It was perfect
But
timing. Once Wade retired, I kind of focused on Mitchell, and then I was like, okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he came in with fire out of Louisville right away.
Oh
Got
yeah,
drafted
oh yeah,
and there was no looking back. I feel like Mitchell looked at the game and like, oh yeah, well I can take over.
oh,
This is my game
absolutely,
now.
absolutely.
That's
So
how he felt.
I'm tuning into that playoffs series
Oh, of course,
for sure.
they have a tough one. Denver Nuggets is always a team that you kind of like.
Like playing like the Mavs, no?
Oh, that's true. They
The
were at one point lined up because they
yes,
were third, and then they
yeah, yeah, yeah,
dropped.
yeah,
That's true. That's totally
yeah.
true. That is, yeah. But I feel like Denver would have been a tougher matchup in
Well, yeah,
my
because
eyes. I think,
you got like the MVP on that side, so it's tough.
yeah. But honestly, I first and foremost, once again, I would love to say thank you for taking your time. I know
Of
you
course.
are on a busy schedule. Literally, we got this in, and you have to be out of your
Yeah,
house in
yeah,
like
a
25
practice and like
minutes, right?
yeah.
So, but it's always a pleasure pleasure talking to you. This
And the same to you.
podcast will be posted on YouTube,
Sweet.
probably later today or early tomorrow, afternoon or evening.
Yeah, yeah.
But always a pleasure, Sasha.
And the
Good
same to
luck
you,
with
Ilya.
the rest of the season, and good luck in
Appreciate it, man.
Puerto Rico. I'm pretty sure we'll talk before you head to Puerto Rico again.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
not live, but we'll get you
Yeah,
in here
for sure.
again,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
For sure.
really
All right,
appreciate
bro.
it.
No problem, man.
You have a wonderful day, and
And the same to you.
keep it going. We're rooting
Yeah,
for you for sure.
appreciate it, man.
All
We'll
right,
see you.
100%. Have a good one.
See you.
And this was it. You heard it from himself, Sascha Kappos. It was an incredible opportunity for me personally to speak to him, having the chance to speak to him prior, in past years with him being on Dalhousie Tigers team and me being at the University of King's College taking my journalism program. Uh, written a few stories that did involve him speaking for the stories, sharing his insight and his knowledge about the game, and whether the story was about the team getting ready for the playoffs or a story about Coach Rick Plato. They always have some great things to say. For those who did tune in today, thank you very much. I really appreciate all the support that I'm getting from each and every one of you. Please follow me on all the platforms. We go as 94 by 50 on all available platforms. At the moment is YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram for all your insights and latest podcasts and all the news of who we're going to have next on the podcast as well. And currently working on making this available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's just a matter of time. I hope you all are staying patient, and it will be available very shortly. For those who tuned in, I say thank you. For those who will tune in later, make sure to like and subscribe. For those out there, make sure to keep it simple, and peace, love, and positivity. Make sure to spread it. Have a wonderful day.